Hello, welcome. My name is Glenn. Today we're going to talk about why you should possibly not work in Australia. So, as you know, Australia is a beautiful country. It's a country that lots of people from around the world want to come to, but there are some aspects of Australia which will disincentivize you from working here. 8 to 9 years, pretty much since the federal government has been liberal, so since 2013, wages have been stagnant. They have not risen. Now they say wage rises are like 1 or 2% per year, but for a lot of people, that they got paid $20 8 years ago. Now currently they're still getting paid the same. But now there is a difference in that we have not had new immigrants, so there has been a squeeze on the workforce. There's still a lot of unemployment, about 4 to 5%, but that squeeze means that you can change from job to job, like the Great Resignation in the United States that people have been doing, and get a high wage. But as soon as all those immigrants, skilled, and the students come back in, that's probably going to stop. So, and then Labor's ability to ask for the wage that is needed to live in the large cities will cease to happen. So that's another thing. Wages have not risen, but that's just not Australia. Another thing is that Australia is quite different in working. So a lot of people like to think Australians are laid back, but that is not the case with working. Australians do work a lot. A lot of Australians work more than 38 hours per week. And I work with a lot of Nepalese, and the thing that they always say is that Australia is a hard place to live when you're working, because in Nepal it's just more of a relaxed lifestyle than here. But my wife comes from Hong Kong, and over there working is a lot more stressful and a lot harder than in Australia. So it depends on where you come from. You come from Nepal, you come here to work, you think, this is hard working, really hard working. You come from Hong Kong to Australia, you think, working here is quite easy. It's a lot less stressful. So it depends on where you come from. The working style will be different than your home country. So that's what you need to factor in. It's not going to be the same from where you come from. Okay, but before we go on, let's have a look outside. Beautiful. Like my backyard. That's nice red flowers, isn't it? My wife is kind of jealous because I can look at the beautiful flowers. Okay, so cultural differences in the workplace. This also means that a lot of jobs have unrealistic expectations. They expect you to do, this is not only Australia, this is other countries as well, United States, Canada as well. You got a certain pay range. Like some jobs you get paid $25, $27 an hour, and they expect you to do it this long, and you're not going to do it in 8 hours. You might get 60, 70 as a manager. That's 70,000 a year. And you're going to have to work 16, 17 hours in a lot of large businesses. So unrealistic expectations that you have to meet on the job. And this happens quite often. If you get minimum wage, which is $20.33, then if they put unrealistic expectations, if you quit that job, you can just get another one. And they're going to find that they're going to go through people like butter, because the expectations for the pay is not really worth it. So if you want to work in Australia, just remember the expectations placed on you might be unrealistic, and that's really not unusual for Australia. And this leads on to wages. So wages, in the past, if you wanted a wage rise and you were pretty good at your job, you just go in there and you ask. Now, it does still happen now. You can go in and ask your boss for a wage rise if they're a good boss. If they deem it feasible, they'll give you one. Or the boss will increase your wage as a reward. My wife got a wage rise this year. Actually, she got a wage rise quite a few years in a row. That's one reason why I quit my job. When I started 9 years ago, started at $20 an hour. Now I'm on 22, and I'm like, nah, not really. And they're advertising for jobs starting at $25 an hour. And I'm like, yeah, nah, screw this. And also, other people got a wage rise before I did. Now, I'm not saying they don't deserve it. Actually, they did. But, you know, the fact that they worked there a lot less than I did. So, not 9 years. They worked there, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. So, you know, they were getting paid more than me. Made me a bit upset. So, yeah, nah, I just left. Nah, don't want anything to do with yous anymore. So basically, the only way you can get wage rise for a lot of businesses is to change job. So basically what you have to do. Or if you don't want to change job, you have to move up a corporate ladder. Sorry, I've got a piece of paper with everything on it. So you've got to move up a corporate ladder. But a lot of businesses are small businesses. They don't have a corporate ladder. They have a few people in charge. That's it. But if you're in a larger business, then you need to become, I don't know, team leader or something, then a manager, then a senior manager, CEO is the top, you know, but you're not going to make that. So basically in Australia, if you want a wage rise, I'll put it down, you have to change jobs or you have to suck up. Now, there is another factor you need to take into account when you want to work in Australia. And that is that racism is still here. It hasn't gone away. Now, it's not really overt. You don't go out in the street and people go, hey, you bloody Indian. Hey, you bloody Chinese. Hey, you bloody white prick. No, people don't do that. It's more subtle. So, you're going for an interview and maybe you'll have a different accent. The people who are going to employ you are going to judge you on the accent. It's less likely they're going to judge you on the colour of your skin, but I would say it's more likely if you're Aboriginal or African, they're going to judge you a lot harsher than me. I'm white, so I'm probably the ideal applicant for a lot of businesses. And also my accent is Australian. If you're American or British, yeah, I don't see a problem with that either. It's more likely your accent is, you know, Chinese or another Asian accent, South Asian, so Indian, Sri Lankan, also Middle Eastern. Europeans, they're more likely to accept. So, while the racism is not overt, it is still there. And you need to take into account that. While we're trying to get rid of it, if you want to increase your employment prospects, probably try and make your pronunciation a lot more clearer. Now, my pronunciation is crap. It's not really good. So, that is my advice, because I'll leave it there. So, another aspect is that while there is a lot of work hours and also unrealistic expectations, you know, you might still get paid really well for that type of job. But sometimes you do get businesses that really, they don't care. They want to take as much money off you as you can. So with this is pretty famous with the Chinese and Indian business owners, not all of them, that want to pay you, like $10 an hour. They usually just do that to the people who are Chinese or Indian. But that's not all the Chinese and Indians. Not all of them are like that. A lot of them do pay decent wages. So that's a stereotype that doesn't apply to all of them. And also the underpaying of workers is across all people of different nationalities. So my skin colour, white Australian, Anglo Australian. There's been a lot of examples of people ripping them off, especially on farms. So a lot of farms are still owned by people who have generations of people settling here. And, it's just really popular, paying $2 to $3 an hour, having buckets and unrealistic expectations of how much they need to fill it up. So, it's pretty much based on if the person's a jerk or if they're nice. So if the person's nice, it doesn't mean that they're going to pay the correct wages. Maybe they would use that niceness to not pay the correct wages. But if in here they're not nice, then they'll probably pay crap wages and try and rip you off. But, a lot of bosses are mean and nasty, but one thing they won't do is rip their workers off, because, it's just a strange thing. You got nice people that will rip their workers off. You got nasty people that won't. Then you got nice people that won't rip their workers off. Then you got nasty people that will rip their workers off. See, my pronunciation is crap. So the last thing that we need to talk about is that in a lot of businesses, to get a job, might be initially what you know, but if you know someone in that business, they can go a long way to helping you secure that job, even if you don't know anything. So the way things go, and this is pretty much politics, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And while this doesn't apply to every business, because sometimes they just need to employ someone because they know something. It's just the way. But a lot of times when the job is not a very specific job, so you got a specific job, they need someone who knows how to do that. And then you got, just a generic job, anyone can do it, If you know someone in the company, they go, yeah, come in, yeah, just do some work and we'll see how you go. If you're really not that good, then if you're not their friend, then, they'll probably tell you, oh, you can go now, bye-bye, don't come back, shut the door. So basically, and this happens all around the world, so you've probably encountered this. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So we'll leave it there. So those are my reasons for not working in Australia. I have a list here. So we got no wage rise for 8 years, cultural differences, racism. We have jobs can rip you off, just like any other country. It's who you know, not what you know. Unrealistic expectations, and the only way to get a wage rise is to change jobs or climb the corporate ladder, but there are exceptions as well. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it helped you, and don't let this put you off coming to Australia. Just make sure you get paid the right amount of wages, which you can go to Fair Work Australia and they'll show you what you should be getting paid.